Welcome to What's What, the 15-minute or less internet game show full of nerdy impersonations, interpretations, and thoughtful deliberations. Starring your puzzle master, clue giver, and personal impersonator, it's Mark Bayne.
On your go, get set, Mark.
Joining us today, here he is to rock you like a hurricane, it's Brad Mendenhall.
Hey everybody, I have no idea what I'm doing here.
Also joining us, if you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain, it's Cherontae Vasquez.
Howdy, y'all.
Howdy, y'all. We're going to play 3 games today. We're going to take time between each game to check in on the score and, more importantly, check in on our guests. For now, let's play our first game.
Don't say it.
I'm gonna.
Don't say it.
I'm gonna.
Don't say it.
Can you see my screen?
Oh, he said it.
This game is called Television Reality.
I don't watch TV.
Well, a lot of people our age are pretty frustrated that not only have we lived through one writer's strike, we've lived now going through a second writer's strike. And
I would like to point out, we haven't lived through it yet. You're assuming a lot.
it's still Yep, you're right. Ongoing.
That's just the sort of pedantic nonsense that we support here on this channel.
Reality TV can either be pure history, wonderful discovery, or just plain baloney.
In reality television, we're going to present contestants with the titles of 3 reality TV shows. 2 of them are fake, 1 of them is real. Your job is to identify the real TV show title. Each contestant, in turn, will be able to ask one of the hosts to provide a show description pertaining to one of the titles on screen. After each host has presented a description, contestants will write down the name of the show they think is real, share them at the same time. Both contestants can earn points. Are you ready to play?
Ready.
Ready.
Your titles are
Grandmas, Stews, Brews, and Soups, Adam Eats the 80s, Derriere.
Cherontae, would you like to ask one of the hosts for more description?
Yes, please describe Derriere. Mark, please.
Sure. Derriere came out kind of after the Duck Dynasty thing. They realized, okay, we like the blue-collar family. We like that they're building up this big dynasty of an agricultural sort of blue-collar industry. So Derriere follows a family in the cattle industry in the western Midwest part of the United States. The shenanigans they go through, they do a lot of the prayers at the end of the episodes like Duck Dynasty did. It was 1 season or barely 1 season that got, before it got canceled. But all around wholesome, but all around sequel syndrome to Duck Dynasty.
TLC's response to Duck Dynasty, I should add.
Yeah, that's right. That's a better way of putting it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Brad, would you like to ask me about one of these titles?
Yes, Eric. I would like to hear about Adam Eats the 80s.
Remember back when the Food Network was a thing? There was a guy named Adam Richman on the Food Network who tried to do eating competitions. He'd go around the country and he'd eat the biggest steak or he'd eat the biggest pizza or he'd eat like the 6-foot sub. And that was his thing until he almost had a heart attack and died. Well, Adam Richman's back, but this time he's on the History Channel because the History Channel has food shows. And he travels around the country eating his favorite foods from the 80s, I guess. Cherontae, which title do you think is real?
Adam Eats the 80s.
And Brad?
Derriere.
The answer to that question was Adam Eats the 80s. That is a real show starring Adam Richman. 1 point on the board.
I could have swore when you were describing it and you did so vividly, I was like, I think I remember this show.
Well, remember, like, the 80s, like, malls were really big in the 80s, so, like, you would go to, like, check out the original food court restaurants and see kind of their history a little bit, too, which was neat. Well, that sort of stuff.
Chime in for Brad and myself. When were the 2 of you born?
92.
94.
Hey, I watched a lot of Ninja Turtles taped off TV on VHS tapes from you, big brother, so I had a sort of phantom 80s childhood.
This one hurts. 74. I had my daughter with me. and they asked you for your birthday, and I gave month, date, and year, 1974. And as we're walking away, my daughter says, like, Dad, what year were you born? It's like 1974. She just looks and she deep sighs, like, that was a long time ago.
The key to a good lie is a lot of details.
Yeah. Your next series of clues.
The food that built America, secondhand hubcaps, the Legos in my basement.
Brad, we'll start with you. Would you like to ask a host about one of these shows?
Yes, I would like to hear about secondhand hubcaps.
From whom?
I mean, is there really any difference between the two of you?
Not really.
Well, that hurts.
Secondhand hubcaps was one of those History Channel shows where they reclaimed old cars. It was off the back of American Pickers and every other episode of a Pawn Stars sort of show. So someone would bring in a car, they would fix it up, and they always brought in specialists, but the main character, or at least it was his sidekick, he was so careful about the hubcaps. In some cases, he had like a collection. Someone would have 3 of the 4. He'd have a 4th one. He'd be, they play the sad music, like, I remember when my uncle gave me this hubcap, and they're like, oh, and the violins start playing because History Channel's really trying in the editing.
Almost terrible enough to be worth watching.
It was.
That almost sounds real. Cherontae, would you like to ask me about one of these shows?
The Legos in my basement.
Fantastic. Actually came out in 2015. It was on Discovery Channel. It did not last there, but it got a second season, I think moved to A&E. It was on the back of the Lego movie when Lego hype was like vivid. And it's about people who have ridiculous Lego setups in their basement, a la Will Ferrell in the Lego movie. They did replace the narrator after the first 2 episodes with somebody who tries to sound like Will Ferrell. Honey, where are my shorts? Like, it doesn't track as well. Cherontae, what show do you think is real?
The food that built America.
He's not buying any of it. Brad, what show do you think is real?
Also, the food that built America.
That's a point for both contestants who have had enough of our shenanigans.
I'm pretty sure I saw that show.
Well, that's the trick. The Food That Built America is an American nonfiction docudrama series on the History Channel that premiered on August 11th, 2019. Each episode tells a story behind the biggest food brands in the United States. Your next set of clues.
Tim Allen's Tool Shop, Yankee Farmers, more power.
At this point, I don't know if I can believe anything that comes out of you guys' mouths. Tell me more about more power, Eric.
Sure. More Power also has Tim Allen, just like Tim Allen's Tool Shop. It was on the History Channel, and Tim Allen, like everything, was also an executive producer, and he talks about giant machines. It's like Dirty Jobs, but it's not dirty. It's about powerful things. I have here in my notes that I'm required to say award-winning actor and comedian Tim Allen every time we reference him. Just making sure that we're...
His attorneys
What
have
award?
reached. Yeah, he's reached out to us. They're his attorneys. Anyway.
Yeah, Tim Allen reached out to us. That was how that worked. Brad, what show would you like to hear about?
No, I want to know what award he won. I mean, Galaxy Quest and Red Belt. Those are his good movies. The end.
He has a Golden Globe for Home Improvement.
Not burning any calories watching it comedy. I laughed. Okay. If for no other reason,
he has an Annie Award as well for Toy Story.
What do you do in Toy Story?
he's Buzz
He's
Lightyear.
Buzz Lightyear.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Just to be clear, we're not lying about that.
So I want to hear about Tim Allen's Tool Shop.
This one came out right after Home Improvement. I think they kind of did a parallel. The last season Home Improvement was happening. They did Tim Allen's Tool Shop. They used the same set, but what was cool about it is they kind of did broke the fourth wall and showed you, he kind of like interviewed some of the carpenters and set builders of the first, of the Home Improvement set. They tried to involve the other guy, but they didn't get along in real life.
I have no clue. I'm just gonna try to take a get. Yankee Farmers? That doesn't even make sense. Yankee Farmers.
Brad, what show do you think is real?
Yankee Farmers.
Well, that is no points. More Power is a real show,
Oh.
starring award-winning actor and comedian Tim Allen on the History Channel.
Wow. How many?
Your next set of clues.
Oil rig weddings, hard truths of conservation, long haul marriages.
Mark, tell me about long haul marriages.
So this has to do with the drivers of big rigs across the country who are always delivering the goods that we're always buying. This was pre-Amazon days, but you could tell that they were working for some big box companies. Like they'd have the Walmart, but it was like blurred out. And you're like, I wonder what that could be. A lot of these relationships, they would meet over CB radio, or at least they presented it that way through television reality. And you'd see two to three couples meet up, and one of the couples would be married by the end. Sometimes they would have the back of the cab open up and have their little ceremony there, which was really cute.
Okay. Hardships of conservation.
Yeah, History Channel show. There's a host named Dan who sets out on a high-impact international journey of discovery within the world's conservation and the hard truths of life among the planet's wildlife. Brad, what show do you think is real?
Long haul marriages.
Cherontae, what show do you think is real?
Long haul marriages.
I'm afraid the correct answer is Hard Truths of Conservation.
Really?
Punches air.
You know, I should have known, first off, if there was a long haul. My dad spent most of his life as a truck driver, including many years as a long haul truck driver.
Classic.
And my dad had the soundtrack to Convoy.
You're saying things that don't make any sense.
Trust me,
Don't
if you
worry.
know, it still wouldn't make sense.
Your last set of clues.
Secret restoration, chicken feed fiasco, Amish plumbers.
I would like Mark to explain chicken feed fiasco.
What we did have to see was the farmers who were feeding their chickens, obviously chicken feed, but we got the history of tainted corn that led to a tainted supply of chicken in the Midwest, in the Bible Belt. It lasted about 2 to 3 years. It was right before Sam Walton and the whole Walmart blow up. But what we did get to see was the ugly side of agriculture in America before there was a EPA regulation boom in the late 70s.
Brad, which show would you like to hear about?
Tell me about Secret Restoration.
Sure. Another History Channel show inside a century-old tool factory in New England. A group of the nation's top restorers and craftsmen have come together to make dreams come true. What show do you think is real?
Amish plumbers?
Brad, what show do you think is real?
Secret Restoration.
That is a point for Brad. Secret
Aw.
Restoration is the correct answer. Amish plumbers?
I don't know.
Well, there was like an Amish mafia show, so it's not the craziest thing.
Wait.
Yeah, Amish plumbers, what they would do is they would use a lot of antique tools. Oh, right. I don't have to lie about it. You're right. They know.
It's over.
True story. One time, my family came back from a vacation. Neighbor, a delightful woman named Helen, came over. Was like, Brad, I just want to let you know that while you're away, there were some Amish cows in your front yard. It's like, well, every word of that was more interesting than the word before.
Brad, you have a band and a podcast. What's the name of the band again?
The band, and everyone, you can see, there's a chyron with my name. The band's name is Mendenhall. I didn't name the band. Our drummer, Eric Bayne, who's also here, he and our guitarist and our bassist all like the name Mendenhall for a band. It's like, this makes me sound like an ass. It's like, we can live with that.
You have a podcast? That one I'm curious about.
Yes, I am the host and co-founder of the Cosmic Geppetto podcast. We've been going on for about 8 years now. We just put out episode 281. It is a positive geek culture podcast. We talk with writers, comic book creators, musicians, actors, playwrights, and we talk about we talk to cool people about cool stuff. We've had some wonderful guests on. Something that's very special to me, and Eric can attest to this. I'm a big fan of the musician Matthew Sweet. Mr. Sweet was kind enough to come on to the podcast probably about 1.5 years ago. And if you ever wanted to see like a real life version of the old Chris Farley SNL bits where he just completely geeks out, it's like, remember when you played that song? It was really cool. That's pretty much it.
Very cool. Yeah.
Coming out of round one, the score is 2 points for Cherontae and 2 points for Brad. Let's play our next game.
Tie game.
You're going down, Brad.
I have no
Fighting
ability
words.
to talk trash to you and feel like if I tried, I would end up embarrassing myself and possibly get canceled.
He's not wrong. Your next game is even or odd.
In the modern era of films and television, there doesn't seem to be an original idea anywhere. Every movie seems to be a serial. Your job is to tell us the title of the movie. Is it even or odd? Even 2, 4, 6, 8 of the installment, or odd 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 of the installment. Eric, explain the scoring.
Absolutely. Each question is worth 1 point. We're going to ask our contestants to write down their answers and reveal them at the same time. Both contestants can earn points. For a bonus point, you can also write down the number of the installment as well. It is based on release order, not canonical chronology.
I'm going down.
There's time. Your first clue.
The Bourne Ultimatum with Matt Damon. Matt Damon.
Brad, you can share with us, do you think it's even or odd, and what number? Now I get to say the other thing. Brad, you're on mute.
Odd, number 3.
And Cherontae,
Even number 2.
the Bourne Ultimatum is odd. It is the third installment of the Bourne franchise. Your next clue.
The Dark Knight. He's not wearing hockey pads.
I gotta ask, are we talking about of all the Batman films or just the Nolan?
It is as a product of this particular Batman franchise. Cherontae, we're going to start with you. Even or odd, and the number.
Odd, number 1.
And Brad, to you.
Even, number 2.
That is another 2 points for Brad. The Dark Knight is even number 2. Cherontae, it's a 50-50 shot. You're going to get one of them.
Okay.
Your next clue.
Before Midnight. I don't know this one. I do not know this one.
Brad, we'll start with you. Even or odd?
Odd, number 3.
Cherontae.
I've never even seen this before or ever heard of it. Odd, number 1.
That is 2 points for Brad, 1 point for Cherontae.
Okay.
Starred Ethan Hawke, and it was the third in a series where it followed the same couple as they would basically had really long, uninteresting conversations. And some people love these movies. By this point, the couple was married and had kids.
Yeah, isn't there like 12 years between movies as well? Is this the one where they like age in real time? So they make one every 12 years or something?
Yeah.
Something like that? Yeah.
And your last clue. Silence of the Lambs.
Cherontae, we'll start with you.
Odd number 1.
And Brad?
Odd number 1.
That was a trick question. It is technically even number 2, technically a sequel to 1986's Manhunter. Jonathan Demm's Silence of the Lambs feels like a completely new film. Anthony Hopkins replaces Brian Cox as Hannibal Lecter and develops a sort of eerie repartee with Jodie Foster's Clarice.
I am calling malarkey on this. Where's the official organization to cover this?
Your Wikipedia article will be right here.
Not Wikipedia.
Cherontae, you mentioned you have a YouTube channel. I can only imagine it's moderately to severely more successful than Eric and I's YouTube channel. What's it about? What do you do?
So it's a YouTube channel with my husband and I. We're just doing skits. We're doing gaming. We are trying to hone down on a niche, but right now we've just got a broad field going, and our viewers seem to still love it. So yeah, it's Sharon John. Gotta check it out.
All right, link will be on the screen. And Eric mentioned earlier you have a pet sitting business, and I have at least 2 cats outside the store right now, so might need that in the future. Tell us about that.
Yes, I do pet sitting as well. I do pet sitting through Rover, and I am starting to do my own business in it. So I am looking also into pet nutrition as well. So yeah.
Well, I have a 20-pound cat, and I'm not joking. So we could use your help. Yeah, we'll
I got you.
We'll follow up on her
Are
later.
you sure you just let Puma into your house?
It might be a dog. We're not sure.
It's an ocelot.
Oh, I also watch other things just other than cats. I do dogs. I've done goats, chickens, so pig, snakes, anything. Geckos.
Bearded dragons.
Yes, bearded dragons.
That's right.
From personal experience. Coming out of round 2, Cherontae trailing with 3 points. Brad in the lead with 8.
I can't believe I got every single one of those movies wrong. Ask me about the Toy Story movies. I got you.
Toy Story 2 is
Who
number
voices
2.
Buzz Lightyear?
Yeah.
Tim Allen. I know that now.
Yeah. Can you see my screen? Growing up with limited access to cable TV, Harry Potter was Mark's first real exposure to British culture. As a result, there are several words, phrases, and concepts that he learned from Harry Potter that have left him perpetually confused if they are British words, turns of phrases, or are in fact just magic. Each question is worth 1 point. We're going to ask our contestants to write down their answer, reveal them at the same time. Both contestants can earn points. Your first clue.
Grand Hall. Grand Hall.
Could you use it in a sentence, please?
The meals prepared by the Grand Hall are done so with the tiny hands of elves. Grand Hall.
Brad, British or magic?
British.
Cherontae, British or magic?
I'm gonna go with magic.
There's a confident vote. Grand Hall is British.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
that tracks. Yeah, about that. Yeah.
British.
Your next clue.
Quaffle. Quaffle.
That sounds inappropriate.
Could you,
Sounds like something that'll cost you extra.
could you use it appropriately in a sentence, please?
My mate stole my quaffle, isn't it? Quaffle.
Ugh.
Quaffle.
Cherontae, British or magic?
Magic.
Brad, British or magic?
Magic.
That is correct for both players. Quaffle is in fact magic. It's one of the balls.
Balls from Quidditch.
Your
Sporting equipment from Quidditch.
Your next clue.
Deluminator. Deluminator.
Could you use it in a sentence, please?
I couldn't watch my football game, isn't it, Gov? Because I lost my Deluminator. Deluminator. I'm also available for voice work if anyone needs me.
It's like Sir Richard Attenborough is with us right now.
The Deluminator.
It's mating season. That's my Richard Attenborough. Brad, British or magic?
Magic.
Cherontae, British or magic?
I'm gonna go with magic.
That is correct. Deluminator is in fact magic. It's that weird little pen lighter that Dumbledore uses to turn out the street lamps.
Luminosa. I don't know.
Close enough.
There was some Latin in there.
Seems right.
It felt right.
It's all made up.
British isn't real.
It never was.
Your next clue.
Blimey! Blimey!
And in a sentence, please.
My flying car fell out of the sky, didn't it? And I shouted, blimey! Blimey.
That holds up. Cherontae, British or magic?
British. I don't even know if that's a British accent. British.
Better than mine.
That was good.
Thank you.
Brad, British or magic?
That is British.
That is, in fact, British slang. Your next clue.
No post on Sundays. No post on Sundays.
In a sentence, please.
I couldn't get my tea and crumpets delivered because there was no post on Sundays.
Good enough for government work. Brad, British or magic?
I'm having a tough time because I know that was a plot point in the first Harry Potter where Harry's uncle was glad it was Sunday because there was no post on Sundays. But that doesn't mean it's magic. It just means that, you know, there's no post on Sundays. So I'm going to say British.
Cherontae, British or magic?
Are we allowed to say both?
No.
Magic.
That is a point for Brad.
Oh.
That is, in fact, British.
Post on Sundays would be magic. After all, thousands of letters of acceptance to Hogwarts Academy did arrive on Sunday, but no government officials working on Sundays.
Yeah. Your next clue. Post on Sundays.
I'm gonna chalk it up to I don't handle well under pressure. Don't do well under pressure.
That ends our game. Runner-up with 6 points, Cherontae Vasquez. And in the lead with a staggering 13 points, Brad Mendenhall.
I really shouldn't have done that crap talking. I'm the one going down.
It's not like he got me real angry. I don't think anybody like, oh no, Brad ripped off his shirt, started doing like a Hulk Hogan flex because he got so jacked up on the trash talking. No, it's just I read too much Harry Potter and I've watched way too many movies.
In my defense, my parents are pastors, so I wasn't allowed to watch Harry Potter.
That and Pokemon are creations of the devil, so I understand.
And Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, yeah, of course.
Well, thank you both so much for playing. We'd love to have you back in the future. We appreciate everybody joining us for another exciting episode of What's What.